afternoon, good evening, good morning, hello. It's Lissa Kreisler with another episode of Community Storytelling here at KCAT TV 15. Linda Lester, I always say it, I always mean it. I love you so much for being our wonderful sponsor of this show with Leicester Square. This great artwork behind me is from Rosalio Vargas, and you see him all over town. Just look for the car that's painted a million different colors, splattered a million different colors. That's him. And my guest today, I don't know, as my mother would say, I'm verklempt because I love these people. I always feel I have to be honest, so you know I know them. I consider them friends, and I love them to pieces, and you probably do too. Eddie and Helen Owen. I don't know what to say or where to start. Yeah, where do we start? I guess the beginning.
Yes.
And so much to talk about.
That's for sure.
Yes, so I think we're going to start at the beginning because it all leads up to where you are today. I mean, you have this fabulous farming background. Helen Marchese was your original name.
That's right.
And you still keep it in your middle, and I like that. So tell me about your family.
So we grew up actually working hard, but working together. I grew up on Lawrence Station Road.
In Santa Clara.
Is that
Lawrence Expressway now?
It's Lawrence Expressway. And my grandmother and aunts were on the corner of Homestead and Lawrence, where Kaiser Hospital is now. So this was in the middle of the cherry orchard. But I remember my dad just working 7 days a week, mostly leaving the house early and coming in very late. But I'm the oldest grandchild, so I really enjoyed investigating what the farms were all about. So I did go to work. I would go with my dad or have my mother take me to meet. So I did the bean field, the broccoli field, the cherry orchard. Cherries were my favorite. Learning to fancy pack the cherries with my grandmother, who was at one time a floor lady at Del Monte, but then she really became the floor lady at Marchese Farms.
Unbelievable. How many acres do you think you had overall?
Oh, we were the largest apricot grower in the valley, so we had at one time, I have to refer to Eddie, but I think we had over, I want to say
around 1,200 acres. We had 825 acres in Tracy, which is a single block, and it was the biggest apricot orchard in the world. We belonged to an organization out of Florida that's called the Stone Fruit. Stone Fruit are, hard pits in the middle, and we got an award every year. And then we had another
for having the hardest pits. What do you get an award for?
No, the biggest single grower.
Oh, okay.
of apricots in one block. When you consider the average, probably orchard, for apricots about 30, 40 acres. And then we had another one in a little town called Vernalis, which was just down the road, Highway 33 in the valley, and that was 300 something acres. So,
what do you still own in terms of orchards? Anything?
Yes, we have 220 acres, but it's owned by the family, Helen's family.
Uh-huh.
And
it's
all broken up in trust. It's Cherries.
Cherries?
Yes.
So is it on Monterey Highway?
Yes, it is, and we do not farm it. We lease it out.
All right.
Okay.
All right, but you must have grown up with cherry stands, fruit stands and everything.
Oh, yes.
Did you work those?
I worked those, and we were the most famous next, along with Olson, on the corner of Homestead and Lawrence. And we had the best Bing cherries. That orchard right there produced the best Bing cherries in the valley. And one of my favorite things to do with my grandmother, we did the special cherry boxes that got sent to the president every year. And so,
who was the president back then?
We've been through Eisenhower, Nixon. I want to say that the last one that we sent to was Reagan.
Really?
Yeah.
And they would just accept them? Were they gifts or they ordered them?
They were gifts.
Oh my goodness.
But
we don't know what they did with them.
I'm sure they ate
Well,
them
we
like
always
the
got
rest
a
of
letter.
Well,
Yes.
Somebody did. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, you're sitting down, so some people who don't know you don't know that you're, 2 feet tall? How tall
Barely.
are you?
So I started saying I was barely 5 feet. Now I have to confess, I'm just 4'10". And my grandmother on my father's side went all the way to 4'6". So my grandchildren are hoping that does not happen.
Because I'm wondering, could they see you over the shelf at the cherry stand?
Oh, I stood.
You stood on a box or something.
Right.
That's great. That's great. What high school did you go to?
I went to Bookser when Bookser was Bookser.
So you grew up on the east side of San Jose.
Yes, I did.
And you went to what high school?
James Lick.
Now, how does a farm girl fall in love with, I don't know, what was your dad?
A carpenter.
A carpenter.
Yes.
So how do these two people meet?
Okay, you have to watch the movie American Graffiti.
Oh, we've all seen that.
Okay, well then you understand Suzanne Summers, who was in the Thunderbird.
Yeah.
And she was dragging the mane. I was dragging the mane, and she was in her car, and she had a 64 Ford Fairlane.
Yeah.
It was a Ford four-door hardtop. She actually had a 45 record player in it. I had never even knew there was such a thing in there. So I saw them driving up and down, and then we went to Mel's Drive-In, just like the movie.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there with my friend, and I looked over, and there she was with her cousin and a almost cousin together, and I went over and talked to them. And they actually let me in the car.
Whoa.
And, yeah. So then I was in the back seat. And they were in the front seat. And she was in the front seat driving. And then I asked them, I said, let's go get a pizza. It was over on Willow Street. I think it was called San Remo's. But we went over there, and we had pizza together, my buddy, and this and that. And we're driving home. I told him, you just met my wife.
No.
Honest to God.
So love at first sight.
Absolutely.
What about for you, Helen?
Oh, I felt like he was really special, but I did remember, he claims he did not say it. When we got out of the car at the pizza parlor, I still say to this day, he said, so I'm still waiting for you to stand up. But
Oh
he
my
says he did not
gosh.
say
You know,
that.
those short jokes are so yesterday. Because I'm not much taller than you, so I'm used to that. Where'd you get married?
Go ahead.
St. Joseph, Cupertino.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where's the reception?
The San Jose Elks Club, which my father joined, just to have 650 of his closest friends and family.
Alma Avenue.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
Right, because there was no San Jose Fairmont. There was no place that could hold 650 people.
Oh my goodness. And 50 years ago, 51 years ago.
51 years ago.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? Not many people can say that. Is Mel's Drive-In still here? Or
No.
do we call it something? I didn't think it was still in San
it's
Jose.
completely gone.
It's completely gone.
Yes.
Just like probably all the orchards but the cherries.
Right,
How
that's
about
right.
that?
Oh.
So what was it like growing up in a farming family? I mean, did you get up early too? And did you wear overalls and jeans and you had dirty hands all the time?
I got up early. I've always gotten up early, gone to bed late, even though they used to make you go in the bedroom and say you're going to bed at 7:30. I could never do that. But, you know, what I remember most, those were the days where all the farmers were friends, whether you were related or not.
Yes.
And if somebody needed to borrow a tractor or whatever, everything was done basically on a handshake. I can tell you the first time that my father ever went to Bank of America for a loan to fill out documents, it was like, I'm not going to do this, you know. And in those days, there's still a couple people that worked at the original Bank of America in Santa Clara that still remember that your father would say, well, I'm good for it, right?
Yes, I'm good for it.
Right.
Yes, yes. And I guess, so you knew Lee Lester.
Yes.
I mean, you said all the Olsons.
Right.
Who else was there back then?
Oh, there was the
DiNapolis.
The DiNapolis, which we were best of friends, almost related. Still are friends with the third and fourth generation.
How cool is that?
And still, from the age now, the oldest that's still living in the DiNapoli family is 86. But those were the days where everybody got together, and we still do a lot of things together. Reminiscing.
Unbelievable. And then, so you got married, and did you automatically go into the family business?
Pretty flash.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so,
yes.
what was your job?
I worked in the field. I did everything. I did drive tractors. I changed irrigation pipes, this and that. Worked my way up to like a foreman, where I was taking care of certain areas and stuff like that.
Did you like it?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I always said, I had a job before, and we worked 8 hours, and now we stop at 8 hours and we have lunch.
Yes.
Because we got another
Yes.
8 coming up.
Unbelievable.
And it's 7 days a week, and sometimes, even when my boys were little, real little, I wouldn't see them awake sometimes 3 months in a row.
Wow.
Because I've gone early and got home late.
And you like that?
Oh, I loved it.
And then the boys got into it, right?
Yeah, well, yes.
A little bit?
They did. They would come with me during the summertime, and I could find stuff to do out there. And they sold onions on the road.
So San Jose Airport, wasn't
Right.
that your land, the farmland?
No, we
Rented.
leased it from the city.
Okay, but you grew
Yes.
onions there, right?
Yes, they did. And we did that. We actually had our shop there too, so we could. And during the wintertime, we would overhaul tractors and do maintenance work on stuff like that. But it was good for the city too, because otherwise they would have to pay somebody to keep the grass all knocked down, do all this kind of stuff, and we were doing it as we were growing stuff.
They have to hire goats.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right?
Now, I don't think they'd like goats running around the airport.
Well, the airport wasn't there then.
Yes,
so,
it was.
Oh, was it there?
Oh, yes.
Really?
It was planes coming in and out. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't really
absolutely.
recall that.
That's
Yes.
bad.
Yes.
So, what did an onion go for in those days?
We sold the number 2s on the street.
Okay, what's a number 2?
Number 2 onion is not a number 1 onion. Now, it's still a really good onion to eat, and we would sell a 50-pound sack for $2.
So I didn't know there was. So if I go to Safeway and buy onions, are they probably number 1?
Yes, they are. This time of year, let's see, you're probably still getting onions that came out of an ice house, and probably in another. No, you could get fresh ones now, right now. Yes, you can.
Okay.
I forget what month we're in.
November 1st.
Yeah.
So-
it would be the end. October would be the end of this area harvesting onions, but we would start them maybe in June.
So a 50-pound bag for $2.
Yeah,
What
of
do you
number
do
2s.
with all those onions?
Of number 2s.
Oh man, that's a lot of onions.
Well, you buy a sack and you give them to your neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to make a lot of marinara sauces.
Yeah, no
Those
kidding.
onions in.
Yeah.
So, and were you a big cook, Helen?
Yes, I used to love to cook. I like to cook more for a lot of people. Cooking for 2 is not fun. And
Try cooking for 1.
Yeah. You know, I have to give my mom a lot of credit. When she was widowed, she did a good job of cooking for 1. It's hard.
It's hard. So you know what? We have just scratched the surface of the first onion. No, onion number 2. We'll be back in a minute. We're going to take a break. Community storytelling with 2 of my favorite people, Helen and Eddie Owen.
Hi, it's Lissa Kreisler. I'm at Leicester Square right here at the corner of Blossom Hill Road and Los Gatos Boulevard. A lot of fun things to do. Ken,
Lisa,
I didn't
so
even
nice to see you.
finish my sentence. I'm so surprised to see you. What are you doing here?
Well, we live close by and we're taking Rocky to the vet today.
So do you have time for a cup of coffee at Phil's with me afterwards?
Sure, is it your treat or mine?
It's definitely your treat.
And Rocky's coming too.
Good with me. I am so glad to run into you at Leicester Square. It's one of my favorite places.
It's one of my favorite places too, and we've been to Varenza and Super Duper and Phil's, and we love going here.
And so you know where I live, I have no flowers, so I come here to Leicester Square to enjoy all the flowers. They're gorgeous. So the motto here that Linda Lester coined is meet me at the square, or meet us at the square, or meet your besties at the square. I meet everybody at the square. It's Leicester Square in Los Gatos.
Come on by, and cheers.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with us today on Community Storytelling with my guests, Helen and Eddie Owen. And we've gotten to the onions and this and that. What came after all of the farming? Because we obviously don't have it anymore, or much of it in Silicon Valley. So what was next for you two?
So next, when we did start selling, and it was all family owned with like 15 family trusts between my aunts and uncle and between my cousins. So what we decided to do is independently with just my brother and his wife and my mom who was still living, we traded for shopping center and warehouse, and we went into doing our own property management.
Okay, now you're talking my language, shopping centers.
Right.
You know, stay out of the kitchen.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's great. Any shopping centers you still own?
So yes, Orchard Farms Market, which
Yes.
is on Bollinger and Miller, and the history there, it was originally owned by the DiNapolis. I used to horseback ride on that property, and so and we have had it for hard to believe since 1992.
Wow.
And of course it's growing. Then Lawrence Station Shopping Center,
Know that one.
which we don't have the part where Bullwinkle's was originally, and now the dialysis is there, but we have all the outskirts of it with the grocery store and pharmacy and restaurants and
Yeah.
stuff.
Unbelievable.
And then we have the original people signing the lease on the Apple building on Bub Road.
Oh.
The person who signed 27 years ago still signs that lease.
Amazing.
And so
It almost gives you goosebumps. It really does. Really does. And when this is going to be the second half of the interview. When did you get so involved in the community? You two are such philanthropists, but not only of money, of time and love, which is what I love about you so much. I mean, and I never know, did they write a check? Did they do this? Did they do that? You are there working behind the scenes. You're wonderful, wonderful giving people. When did that start and why?
And it started when I was land rich and cash poor. That's what we were, but I could give of my time. And I've always liked to be working with people, and especially people with disabilities or that need something special.
What started
So
that?
1990, my mother was very involved in the original 40 families that started Hope Services. And she was also involved in Cupertino with reading to children that had mental and disabilities too. And she was always involved in schools wherever my brother and I went because my father had no time for it.
Right.
And so really my first involvement was with Hope Services and with Santa Clara University, the Cadillac Club, and O'Connor Hospital. And I have to admit,
Were you
I have
born
a lot
at
of.
O'Connor?
I was born at the original O'Connor, and my father had his first 5 bypasses at O'Connor Hospital on Forest from Dr. Angel that studied under Dr. Shumway.
Wow.
I have a lot of history ties, and still very close knit with.
That's wonderful. But yeah, so Hope, you're involved with Hope, and you've just mentioned him. JW House.
So
We've got to spend some time on JW House.
So with the JW House, when my daughter-in-law that had leukemia, she had acute lymphatic. It's the same leukemia that I read in the newspaper JW had when he was 4 years old in Belgium. And so when I was really dealing with some health issues with my mom, I read the article on Bellarmine had raised the first $10,000 for JW, who had brain cancer now from the treatment from the leukemia.
Right.
And I cut the article out and thought, okay, if I have time, I will try to see if I can connect and work with this. So at the time I was looking for somebody to stay with my mom so Eddie and I could go on the trip through Santa Clara University following in the footsteps of St. Ignatius. Well, I was on the trip with JW's teacher from his music class. And she's like, Helen, you need to sit by me on the bus. When we went home from the trip, because otherwise we could be here all day, I said, I need to meet JW. I met him and planned the first fundraiser. When he tells the story of how he wants to build this house so other families could not be apart because he had to be apart from his sister and brother so much. And the great thing about it, when we first started raising the money, we worked together with Kaiser because Dr. Wong was his doctor. Kaiser was going to give us the lease. And the house is basically on the property that I grew up on. And it's doing today everything that JW wanted to do.
Yes, for those who are not aware, it's this gorgeous house. It's home. It's not a house, it's a home. It's a home for people who have loved ones in any of the hospitals in this valley.
That's right.
It just happens to be next to Kaiser. And when your loved one is there and you need a place to either sleep or have a meal or some downtime or take a shower or get some love, that's where you do it.
And it's felt every time you open that door and go into the house.
Well, you're felt every time because I'm their ambassador. I'm an ambassador, and I feel you every time I walk into that building. So I mean, it's just the list is endless. And Eddie, what do you do?
What do? What does Eddie do? I have a lot of help. Everybody in the valley has heard, Eddie can do that.
And you can.
Because she is involved in so many things and something will come up, Eddie can do that.
And you can.
And I do.
A man of remarkable traits. I was with you. I don't remember what the event was. Maybe it was for Hope. I'm not sure. And we needed an auctioneer. You said, I'm going to come up and do it with you. Yeah. And you were fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, I've done a few auctions for nonprofits. I don't charge anything for what I do. I'm not a professional. And I remember the one, it's somebody's backyard, and it really was for JW's house.
It was.
And I said, if you can help me, and so you read all the stuff, and I said, I'll take care of the numbers. And we were battering back and forth too,
So much
which
fun.
was really fun.
So much fun.
That's when I fell in love with you.
Oh, thank you.
Because we were.
Yeah, we were buddies that day.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
now we've been buddies forever, like
Yes,
it seems
yes.
like. I mean, you give so much. I know you love Little Italy. I think of you every time I go there, because you were instrumental in getting that block,
Right.
which is what's the street? It's off of Julian.
Julian and St. John.
St. John. And tell us a little bit about that.
So I think my end of life fundraising, I will always keep JW House and Hope near and dear to my heart, and along with a few Santa Clara University, but you have to move on to some other things. And so because of our heritage and to want to leave things, Little Italy, and also notable music and arts with Pasquale, who's like my third son, and his children are our godchildren. But I really want to see Little Italy totally developed before I pass, because it is a
Would you quit
place to
saying
bring.
things like that?
But-
End of life, passing nonsense.
But it's probably 75% there. This year we will break ground on finally do the museum and the cultural center, and we've gotten new businesses like Inoteca della Storia.
Yes, love it.
Paisanos was one of our first business with the Little Italy School, and we just now, Sal Caruso just got our plans approved for the museum and cultural center. So I think we should see the grounds coming off. But we've had great long history Italians helping us, the D'Ambrosia family, the Sobrato family, the DiNapoli family. And we built the JW house on dollar by dollar and some cents by cents. We've done Little Italy like dollar by dollar too.
Yes. And let's talk about your personal life. You have 2 fabulous sons.
Yes.
How many grandchildren are you up to?
I have 7 amazing grandchildren.
And you are with them all the time.
I am. I was not able to do as much with the grandchildren that are now older, because I worked full time as they were growing up, but I participated as much and we're very close knit. But my son has full custody of 4 girls under 13, and trust me, we are together a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And
4 weddings,
5 weddings
well,
when
we
Kayla
can count them
gets
all. Okay.
right. But I say we get to enjoy watching them grow, and they all have such different personalities. But that house is exploding, between.
So what's a family dinner like? How many people do you have?
So
Let's talk about the holidays.
Average holiday is 18 to 24.
And always at your house?
I always do Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, we used to be in the 40s and 50s and 60s.
And you would cook for those men?
Oh yeah,
Because you can order out.
that's unheard of for anything like that. Now a birthday dinner, yeah.
You can order out, let me tell you.
And Eddie is the famous Santa Claus.
Yes, I've been Santa Claus for a long time.
You have the costume and everything?
Yes, I had the costume
Yes.
and do all the stuff.
Yes.
I changed my voice. Yeah. all
And
kinds
do
of
you
good
wrap
stuff.
the presents in Santa Claus paper?
Santa
Yes.
Claus is always has a Santa bag.
Yes.
And I usually pick out 1 or 2 adults that doesn't know that they're going to be sitting on Santa's lap, which really makes it a lot of fun. Too.
I bet it does.
Yeah.
And you have this gorgeous home in Los Gatos. How long have you lived in Los Gatos?
Well, we lived in Los Gatos 14 years, but we sized down from Cupertino when we lived in Cupertino 36 years, and we sized down to Rinconada Hills.
Because I've been in your home. I don't really think it looks sized down, but okay.
But that was when we lived in Rinconada Hills. Then 2.5 years ago, we needed to size up. And he always never wanted to size down. So we live on Clearview Drive, where you can find a small vineyard right there.
Yes.
Front yard.
Front
Yeah,
yard.
Front yard vineyard.
What grapes? What kind of grapes?
Merlot.
Merlot. Okay.
And
Oh, my
we
goodness.
love having family and friends over all the time. I'm
Yes.
having something
Yes.
very soon.
Yes.
And our house is open all the time for those that need to come and just relax, enjoy, or if they need to stay over.
Do you ever have any time just for the two of you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I see you and I don't go to much. You go to everything, and it's like, do you ever get to sit at home and watch a TV show?
Oh, yeah. They usually start around 9:30, 10 o'clock. So
Yes.
That's when
Right.
really gets to watch television.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
No, we go out quite a bit. I cooked last night for dinner, so
what'd you make?
enchiladas.
Whoa.
Outstanding.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because she cooks the big meals. She talks about
Yeah.
those two. Most of the time, I do all the rest of the cooking.
You know, you can buy enchiladas made too.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, but I like my homemade enchiladas.
Okay. You don't make the rice by scratch, do you? Because you can buy that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You two, I could be with you forever. I love you so
But we
much.
love you.
Well, thank you.
But everybody loves you. Anybody who knows you absolutely loves you. And will we see you walking around the streets of Los Gatos? I hope you have time to spend here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You have
yeah.
a favorite store?
Oh, I do. Well, I have to say that Bianco is one of my favorites.
All right.
And also, I have to say, Classic Car Wash. I do a great job on Lark Avenue spending money there.
Yes. Well, we love the Dorses.
Yeah.
They've sat on that couch
Yeah.
before.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So that's a wonderful car wash.
And the wine cellar is probably one of our
One of
favorites.
my favorites.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going there for a
Yes.
date.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
absolutely.
We got a date coming
Yeah.
up.
We do.
Yes,
Coming
okay.
up. You two are
Anytime.
wonderful.
Thank you. We love you.
Amongst the biggest givers in this valley. We could not be here without you.
Thank
I mean,
you.
there's so many organizations that I know have you at the top of the list. What can we do to thank Hetty and Ellen Owen?
Hetty? Okay.
Helen and Eddie
Oh,
Owen. I
we're-
like that.
you're
Yeah,
back to
I like
Hetty.
it too.
It's her new name.
And I got to say this, probably once or twice a month, somebody's going to call her up and say, can we come pick your brain?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they want to come see what they should be doing.
So you might be on that list now too. Community storytelling at its finest. How many stories did we just hear from Helen and Eddie? I mean, magnificent storytellers, magnificent people in this valley. If you want to nominate somebody, it's so easy. You go to kcat.org. I nominated them, and it took me 4 minutes. Went online, and that was it. So you do it too, kcat.org. And thank you so much for being with us today at Community Storytelling right here at KCAT TV 15.